What's going on, guys? Welcome to Trader's Edge Crypto. I'm your host, Lawton Ho, and I'm joined by Benjamin Pulio and Drew Dosek. Everyone say hi.
What's up, guys?
Hi.
Okay, so the way this works, for those of you who are new, the only way you can view us, well, you can view us on YouTube, but the only way you can ask questions to us, because this is a give and take, right? You guys give questions. Anyways, is on our homepage. And if you want to be able to submit your questions, go to the verifiedinvesting.com homepage. And right there, once you're logged in, you're going to be able to submit questions that I'm going to be able to see, and I'm going to be able to feed directly to Drew and Ben. And just as we're getting started, we are going to, the objective of this is to live trade crypto, right? And our exclusive sponsor for this is Blofin. Blofin. It allows us to go both long and short and use up to 150 times leverage, which hopefully we don't have to do. And as you guys are logging into our homepage and more people are joining us, I'm going to let these guys get into it. Are there anything that you guys are looking at right now to potentially trade?
Yes, I am. And here, let me flip over to my chart on Hyper. Here, let me present this real quick. All right. So you see here on Hyper Liquid, HYPE, HUSD. We did put in a 10-minute topping tail right here on the charts. Notice how we're starting to come back down here into consolidation. Ideally, we want to see a move right back up somewhere above 45.60, 45.65. And we want to see that rapidly move up. And right now it's starting to move in the opposite direction, but I will be looking to short from that area on Hyper Liquid. I'll keep you guys posted should that
Isn't that the one you shorted last time?
I'm unsure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, we look at a lot of charts. It
Yeah.
all kind of blends together.
That's
It
true.
kind of blends together. I'm going to do my intro again in just a second. But Ben, is there anything you're looking to day trade before I introduce the segment? Because there are 500 more people now than there was when I first did my intro.
No, I am looking at MOG. MOG is slightly interesting. However, it's off of its highs already decently, 2.5%. So if it starts continuing to consolidate, I've got a trend line. So let me go ahead and draw this trend line in for you guys. Right here, connects this pivot low right at basically 98.15, connects it again at 98.91. So if it gets back down to this level, I'm looking for a bounce off of this. Although I'm not taking for a long, I'm waiting for a break of this upsloping trend line. And then if that happens, I will look to short it then. But I need that pierce in the break in order for me to be interested in this for a trade. I was looking at the 10-minute on this, or the 15-minute. There's no topping tail on this one. However, it's overly extended. And as you can see, it's a pretty good wick on the upper side of MOG. So that could be one that we're taking a look at as well as Hyper Liquid. So, all right, take her away, Lawton.
So first question comes from Eduardo. Morning, guys. Thank you for all the analysis and knowledge you share. Great as always. That's it. No question. All right. Well,
thanks for that. Thanks for the comment.
Thanks for the kind words.
Appreciate it.
And if you guys want to share your questions with us, ask us questions, to have us take a look at a chart, or share your nice messages and compliments, you can go ahead and go to the Verified Investing homepage website. That's the only place you can submit questions that we can see. And I just want to say that next week on Monday, June 23rd, is Investor Empowerment Day. Not only are we going to have a great day filled with fun activities like day trading, hopefully getting some wins. We'll have Trader's Edge Crypto. We'll hear testimonies. Gareth will do a whole segment. But also we're going to have a sale on some of our flagship courses. And Drew has one of those courses, actually.
Oh, yeah. And working on another one. Yours isn't done yet, is it, Lawton?
Mine is in the editing process. It's being edited. It is out of my hands. Give it to the overlords. So if you guys want to short crypto with us, want to day trade crypto with us, check out Blofin. If you want to sign up, go to verifiedinvesting.com blofin.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom, click on our sponsors. Blofin is the only crypto exchange we've ever partnered with, and it lets us go long and go short. All right, first question comes from Michael. Says, can you talk about ADA? Who wants to tackle that?
Cardano?
Yeah,
sure.
no.
Here, let me pull it up. I was just pulling up another chart on Cosmos. Cosmos, it's a ways away. So, all right, let's pull up ADA. All right, there you go. You can see I got Star Wars going on here on the screen.
Right. You sure do.
Yeah,
bunch
that's
of trend
definitely
lines.
makes sense. Wow.
But basically, you could see this main thing to focus on is this declining trend line right here. Price is broken up above it, come down and gotten support on it now several times. This area could be the source of a bounce on Cardano. You can see we've already breached through the support of 64.5 cents. But right now, that's kind of the line in the sand. But as you notice, it can keep going down. And then if it does, this pivot low right around 51 cents is going to be significant support for this cryptocurrency. So right now, it's still okay. It's not broken down. It would be broken down and be targeting new lows should we breach this low. And then we're starting to talk about support all the way down here around like 40 cents. Mainly, we need to be watching this declining trend line, where you can see where that originates from. That's from the pivot high top, strung to the very next major pivot on Friday, January 17th, and basically just string that all the way down. And you can see there, that's where price is really having a problem getting over. The good news for bulls, it's fighting on the top side, and it's already been up here and has not gone down nor confirmed since it's been trading up above. So slight positivity there on Cardano, but still getting close to a critical level right there in the 50 cent area. Let's look at Cosmos real quick. Cosmos, this could be getting into a level for a quick day trade. You see here, we're starting to pierce this resistance area or support area right here. Now we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10-minute candles moving down. Let's check out Bitcoin real quick to see how that's doing. Last I checked, that was forming a bull flag on the 10-minute chart. But notice where it's starting to catch resistance right here at this 50% area of the parallel. So we had bearish consolidation, now poking up. And now we're getting resistance right there at that 50% area. So we could bust through here, as long as we consolidate, which would bode well for us to make a long play on Cosmos. So should we get a little bit lower, right around $4.24, I would be interested in going long Cosmos.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Tons of questions coming in. Again, go to the Verified Investing homepage to submit your questions. All right. This is one of Drew's favorites. I'm sorry, Ben. I'm going to pass this one to Drew. Phil
That's
says,
right. Heads up. I'm on MOG, though.
Okay.
Here, let me go flip to my chart.
Yep.
So MOG is breaking this upsloping trend line. This is the third hit. So I do anticipate a move a little bit higher. But if we get up to 102.50, back up to that level, I will instigate a short on MOG. And we're looking like we're breaking this upsloping trend line now. However, probabilities still favor a bounce based on the fact that here's your first hit, here's your second hit. This is what creates your trend line. This would be the third hit. And so I would, again, be looking to short it above 102.50. 102.50. So have that kind of an idea of, or have that on your radar while Drew is answering this next question.
Okay, cool. All right, this next question for Drew specifically. I'm going to pass this to Drew. Where did it go? Okay. Phil says, hi, guys. Good to see you again on a Monday. Every single Monday we're here. Could you break down the Fartcoin chart? I know this is Drew's favorite.
Well, it was a joke. When I found out about it, I was excited to get one of those for my son. But I got to create an account for him and haven't done any of that just yet. So if you can flip to my screen here.
I got you.
I do have a level order entered.
Oh, you're showing your Blofin right now?
Correct. For Adam at $4.24. Yep. I have
you have
a
an
limit
order for a long?
long. Yep. To go long there at $4.24. Getting pretty close. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up. All right, I'm going to drag the screen over here, and then we can take a look at Fartcoin.
Fartcoin, yep.
All right, Fartcoin. Now, where is what is Fartcoin's? There we go. All right, let's do this one. Here we go. All right. So for Fartcoin, what we have going on now, we've actually got a decent move up from this fall. But if you notice here, we're breaking trend right there. And you notice how price came right back up into this trend line and has since now come right back down. So this is the area that needs to be beaten to the upside for Fartcoin to have any sort of upward momentum. So right now, I don't see anything except for it's bull flagging right here, which is great. You want to see consolidation underneath resistance for a break higher. So, but as far as, you know, you can even see this as well. That area is the line in the sand to beat on the way up. So you've got a cradle of resistance right here. This is going to be a major test for it at $1.43. Right in that range will be an awful lot of resistance. And if it can break above that, then I would be looking for a buy on any retrace of these trend lines. I wouldn't be interested in necessarily buying right now. But we can even tag this bottom side for additional support area right about there. So really this area is what you need to be focusing on, the 143. That if that gets beaten to the upside, we have bullish momentum on Fartcoin and it can explode higher. So that being said, I have not gotten filled on Adam yet.
Yeah, can you bring that over and again show everyone where your thing is, guys? I know you want us to ask questions, want us to analyze your charts, but what I think would be even cooler is if we could get a successful day trade, hopefully, and make you guys some money. How does that sound? Vivian's asking, how do we sign up for Investor Empowerment Day on Monday, June 23rd? Do you have a registration page? We absolutely do. You can just scan that QR code at the bottom of your screen, or if you go to the Verified Investing homepage, Investor Empowerment Day is right there, should be right above us. It says event starts in 6 days, 20 hours, 45 minutes, and 46 seconds. If you click on there, you can click on submit your story, share with us, you know, your story. We'd love to hear from you. And it has a list of all of our activities from 8:30 to 4:15. We have things going on the entire day. Anyways, how is MON, Ben? Is that what you're in? MON looking to
MOG is what I'm looking to short.
MOG. Sorry,
yes.
MOG.
So I have it up on my charts right here. I'm not going to use any leverage. So here's your first hit, second hit. This would be the third hit. I'm waiting for a little bit more of a move on this one way or another. Right now, we're just kind of stalling out, not doing a ton. So chopping sideways isn't favorable for a trade on the long side or the short side, unfortunately. So we're going to have to wait for a little bit more. The other one I was looking at is KAS, CASPA. It was starting to break down. Now it's heading up a little bit higher. If it's already up almost 12% on the day, which for an altcoin, that's actually not a huge move. So likely what's going to happen is it could get up to this double top at 82.95 or triple top, as it were, and then possibly head higher. So don't really have anything quite yet, but I'm still looking at things for potential short in this environment. I was looking at the watch lists and stuff, and there's not a ton moving. So you can go to your hot section, and you can see like what's up, what's down. Bid is up. It's getting a nice bid today. The only problem is if you look on the daily chart, it opened up, at least from the information that I have, we've got March 20th. So there's not enough real data for me to be interested in taking a short on this altcoin. But again, still looking at other charts and stuff like that. So, but I'll let you know.
Kyle says, do you share your trading strategy and plans if I were to subscribe to your channel? I don't just want to copy your trades. I want to learn to fish on my own too. Yeah, and I'm assuming you're talking about our services. For our paid services, absolutely. Right. Once you subscribe, if you subscribe to any of our services, yes, we give you trades that we're taking that you're able to copy if you wish to do that. But we also explain the rationale. We go into some decent in-depth analysis, and yeah, I think that's definitely something that we do if you were to subscribe. If you're talking about just our YouTube channel, we don't get into any of our proprietary information, but we do share some surface level analysis, right? Some of the basics that you can still benefit from. In fact, on the Verified Investing YouTube channel, we have an entire free course built
The free section.
A free section of a course. It's called what is that called again? I'm
beginning. It's the beginners courses.
There's a word for it. I'm losing it right now. Hold on. I'm gonna find it for you. I'm determined. Apprentice Trading Library. Yep.
There you
Apprentice Trading Library.
Apprentice Trading Library.
That's right.
So you can learn about, things like mastering support and resistance, how to trade, at the market open, a little intro to market cycles, which Drew is amazing at. And again, guys, for the 1,000 new people who just joined, if you want to ask us questions, go to the Verified Investing homepage. That's the only place you're able to submit questions that we can respond to. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah,
Tom
here you go.
says,
If you flip it to my screen right now, check it out.
Gotcha.
Look at this right there. You can see I paused the video so we won't have any sort of flow, but it's going on live right here. That's the location that Lawton is talking about right here on our homepage.
Yep.
Go right there. Ask us any questions you have. Right now, we've got Adams missed us, guys. It started to bounce up. Still sitting here at $4.24, though.
All right. So Tom says, hi, can you talk about TAO Bittensor? Ben, you want to take that?
Actually, Drew's got that in his service.
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right, Drew.
Yeah. Here, let's talk about it because there's a few things that are going on with this chart. And actually, let me pull up a different one. I've got a couple different charts on this that I've analyzed. And so, all right. So what we have going on here with the larger time frame, you see this here, this move down. This is a left shoulder. That's a head. And this tentatively could be a right shoulder. This line right here is the neckline of that potential inverse head and shoulders pattern. Has not triggered yet. Let me caution and say that just so I can drive it home to you guys. I wouldn't be recommending just buying long and forgetting it and going away. This still needs to move above this neckline for the inverse head and shoulders pattern to trigger. If it does, we're talking about a move all the way up here to 811.09. But what we have also going on here is a little mixed signals. You can see here, we've got an incline trend line right here that's cutting through from the pivot low on May 5th to the next pivot on May 19th. We have a head and shoulders pattern there. So now this is already triggered, saying that the measured move could come down to $300.27. If that happens, this inverse head and shoulders pattern is still intact. We still just could be buying up Tau at lower prices down in this range for an opportunity for the price to move higher above this neckline right there. Neckline is declining ever so slightly, but above current price, neckline's right around 486, and that will continue to go down in value the longer that Bittensor takes to get there. So right now, ultimately, we're just kind of chopping sideways from this pivot, but those two things I'm really paying attention to, the inverse head and shoulders and then the head and shoulders that has already triggered. If we keep going down around 300, the likelihood that you could just keep buying for the move up is a decent probability, but I'd warn again, this neckline has not been triggered. So it doesn't mean it can or has to be triggered. It's just a potential play, which likely would correspond with a bounce up from this measured move.
Cool. All right.
From the what?
The measured
move.
Oh,
power.
okay.
Yeah, that's how they taught us.
That's his signature. His signature.
I can't say the regular measure. I don't know. I've tried it a million times. It doesn't work.
Sound right.
No.
So the next question, Hitoshi, actually agreeing with you, saying, I'm also planning to short hype. Based on your analysis, what would you consider a good price point to enter a short position, and what factors, for example, resistance levels, market trends, or upcoming events, should I watch for to time it effectively? Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Looking at hype, you're looking at potentially shorting it for a day trade, or
That's
you're talking about long, right?
for hype. It was just a day
Yes.
trade. Yeah, it
trade.
wasn't a
Mhm.
swing. Yeah. So here, let's see, where was the hyper liquid? I think it was this one. Yeah, and that was based off of the trend lines that we're coming up into. And plus, look at this chart. This is at the all-time highs of the chart. Doesn't mean it can't go higher, but whenever you have an extended move moving up into resistance, those are areas I like to short. The one caveat about it maintaining the strength is, notice this consolidation right here. Consolidated right before this level. So this breakout is somewhat natural because it already consolidated. But then ultimately when breakouts occur, you likely retrace somewhere near the trend line of where the breakout happened. So that's the thought process between regarding shorting it intraday.
Do you think there's a little bit too much hype in this one?
What was that? I'm sorry. Too much hype?
Too much hype and hype. Yeah, guys, don't encourage him. Can we talk about golf or something? I don't know.
Yeah, heck of a win by JJ Spawn yesterday. Anybody watch the U.S. Open? Heck of a win.
Nobody watched that. Okay. Anyways, Michael says, you guys rock. Thank you so much. Always happy to watch and learn every single day. Let's see here. Sharad saying, hi, what are your thoughts on Near? Thanks.
I like it.
Yeah, I think here's the thing, guys. While we are here to answer questions, I think that we'll get a lot more out of it, and you'll get a lot more out of it too if you include a couple of things. So I'm gonna give you some instructions. So when you guys bring up a chart, give us a long or short. Tell me if you're bullish or bearish on it. What time frame you're looking at, whether a day trade or a swing trade, right? And any other context as well. Just take a look at Near, take a look at this, take a look at this. We can do that, right? But there's no point in us analyzing something in the long term if you're focused on a day trade, or vice versa, right?
Right.
So with that being said, Ben, you want to give us your thoughts on Near?
Here, I'm going to stop this.
Yep.
And then let me go ahead and share another screen.
All good.
All right, here's my chart or my Near chart. All right, so here's the day trade or the daily chart. So what I see here is you've got this pivot high right here. You've got this pivot low. You get a lower high and then a lower low, lower high, lower low. So technically we're still in a downtrend. So if you're looking at trading something like this, you're looking for a break of trend. So what I've done is drawn a trend line connecting 337 down into this 315. Now it hasn't hit it again. So the next time it hits, it would be the third hit of this downsloping trend line. So on a technical basis, it would favor a pullback. And so what you're looking for is a break above this downsloping trend line. And then you can have essentially a reversal on this chart. Another thing I'm noticing, just kind of looking
sorry,
at
Ben. Sorry, we're getting close. I just want to flip over to let you guys know we're getting close on getting filled here on Atom for a long play, $4.24 on the futures. Just 1/1000th of a penny away. And
let's
boom,
see
just
if we
got
can
filled,
get a
guys.
day trade. All right, let's go. Let's get this.
Yep.
We're long Atom, $5.24. Let's play the music. Where's the sound? Oh, I don't have the sound.
424 on Atom. And that is on the futures on Blofin. You can see I was just filled right there.
Oh, yeah, we don't have that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Ben.
We don't have that.
We don't. All right. If you switch back to my charts, the near, if you notice that near is in this also downsloping parallel channel.
I got it, Drew.
Oops, my bad. Yep, there we go.
I got it.
Downsloping parallel channels favor a move to the upside. So if we can get a push below this low pivot at 227, then your next level of support is going to be basically right under $2. And then your $1.81 essentially. If you can get a break out of this downsloping parallel channel, then your next resistance is basically 339. And then you could even get up to these. So 339 is going to be a high. And then these low pivots right in this area at 355. So you want to wait for consolidation right up at that area. And then you could put in a nice bull flag and then all of it. And then you can get a nice move higher on near. So overall, it's pretty good.
Sorry about that. Let's see. Next question. Jordan saying, having a hard time seeing head and shoulders versus cup and handle. And do you have any examples to share? Yeah, we definitely can.
Well, that Tau chart just covered it. The Bittensor.
Yeah, the difference between a head and shoulders and a cup and handle. So cup and I can't share my charts. You guys.
So you're not asking about a cup and handle. I mean, you're not asking about
a head and shoulders
and a cup.
You're talking about an inverse.
Inverse head and shoulders. So essentially, an inverse head and shoulders is like a choppy cup and handle pattern. I mean, that's the best way to think about it. So the difference is, do you have these peaks, right? So you've got this pivot point here, another pivot point here. Is this kind of creating this inverse head and shoulders pattern, or is it a rounded bottom, right? So if this didn't create this, essentially this armpit, and the price action would have just continued to chop down where this head is, then that would be more of a cup and handle pattern versus a possible inverse head and shoulders pattern on like something like the near chart, right? Shoulder, head, shoulder, possible breakout, retest, seeing the crime. But essentially they're the same things. So don't get too caught up in a cup and handle versus inverse head and shoulders pattern. Inverse head and shoulders pattern on near, it would have been just a rounded bottom with bullish consolidation. Basically, could be a parallel channel, downsloping parallel channel, and then a breakout. I will say the base difference between the two is how you calculate the measurement. So on this, the cup and handle is essentially right at the lip of the cup. And the breakout of that would be your upside target. So for example, something on near would be close to the $5 level, whereas at inverse head and shoulders pattern, you're looking at a breakout and your measured move up to $3.75. So really, those are the two differences between the two on how to calculate the price action or the actual distance that the measurement can get to.
Thank you, Ben. All right, let's go back, flip to Drew's chart and see how we're doing in this trade. Again, we're long Atom $4.24. So what do you have as far as your take profit levels, your ad levels, something like that?
Yeah, take profit level right here is going to be just under 430. You can see it's a small move. That's what we're looking for, just a little quick move here on Atom. Ad level is going to be down here at 419. So basically, I'm looking at about 5 cents on either side. And so if we get up to that 5 cents above, before we get down to the 5 cents below, I'll go ahead and take the profits and be done with the trade. Otherwise, I'll be waiting, as you see displayed right here, buy limit right here at $4.19. And take profit is up here at $4, just under $4.30, 4.298. So far, so good. We're getting a little bounce up. We'll see how this plays out over the next 30 minutes. If we look over at Bitcoin, you can see here Bitcoin still trying to chop along this 50% area of the parallel. One thing I do think, and this obviously could fail right here, we can have bull flags fail. And if we do have a bull flag fail, that would be insight for a bigger move to the downside, because usually when failed moves of a positive nature like this occur, then we're going to have a bigger move in the opposite direction. So we want to see this for our atom play. We want to see this continue to consolidate, and then also poke above this 50% area of the parallel. I'll scroll back out to the daily chart to kind of show you where that is. Bitcoin could run up as high as right in this range, 108,286, before it starts facing some difficult resistance. So there is a good shot of Bitcoin still moving up higher throughout the course of the day. Just need to maintain above these pivots. And really why I'm focusing on Bitcoin is just because Bitcoin really is the wind at your sails or your headwinds when you're trading any sort of other crypto.
Gotcha. All right. So while we have Adam on the screen, Tanner's asking, can you talk more about Blofin? Do you feel they're safe? Question mark. What are the depositing withdrawals like? Do you guys have a strictly crypto program? Prices, thank you. So yeah, so we absolutely have a program just for cryptocurrency. It's called Smart Money Crypto, right? Unsurprisingly, and we have a service where Gareth covers the major ones. I believe Ben covers the altcoins, and Drew covers the hodling crypto for the long term.
Yep.
But in general, yeah, we feel that Blofin is absolutely safe. It is, again, guys, we get approached from so many different companies to work with them. We have a very strict vetting process, and we've made sure that Blofin isn't just reliable. It's just easy to use, right? And it's what we personally use, right, to trade crypto. So we want to recommend something we wouldn't use ourselves. Depositing and withdrawing are fairly easy, especially like I have a Coinbase wallet, so I can flip money there and back with no problem. There was a case where one of our customers accidentally transferred in a cryptocurrency that wasn't paired with Blofin, and Blofin went out of their way to rectify that, to try and send that back to them, right? Even though that's not a pairing they even had, right, to their Blofin wallet. So it's really, really good. We really, really like them. So next one, Brew. Okay, Brew says Bitcoin's market is often described as following a 4-year cycle driven by halvings, but bull runs, bear markets, and accumulation phases. From your professional crypto trading experience, how do you translate the cycle's key inflection points? So it's pre-halving buildup, post-halving rally, market peak, drawdown, accumulation, into specific entry and exit decisions for Bitcoin. What portfolio adjustments do you make around those stages? Do you rotate into altcoins or stablecoins, change position sizing, or implement hedges, and why? Wow. Long question. Super long question.
So I think we went over this last time. Yes, there are a lot of people who follow the 4-year cycle. They love the halvings of Bitcoin. There is the majority of Bitcoin has already been mined. So every 4 years, the halvings happen, less and less impact it's going to have. And this is just my opinion based on the law of numbers, right? So as it went from having almost no Bitcoin exposure, having it made a really big difference. Now, having it now, it's not going to make as big of a difference just because it's already exposed. There's already so much Bitcoin available to everybody that having it now, it's not going to make that big of an impact. So that's just the way I look at it. Also, I'm a swing trader, so I don't look for these overly extended moves. I don't look for the news catalysts that lead up to the 4-year cycle. I just like to focus on where support and resistance is at. And if that happens to coincide with the halving, or it has to coincide with some news, then I'll just so happen to enter a trade at that time, but I don't really factor that into my trading decisions.
So Ben, with all that being said, because I think it's really fascinating with the halving aspect of Bitcoin, and then you start throwing in other elements that I haven't really considered before, like AI, because I know they're doing complicated mathematical computations in order to get the right answer to mine to be rewarded the Bitcoin. Do you see down the road the integration with AI and potentially quantum computing making Bitcoin mining cheaper? Or is it kind of going to offset with some of the power utilized for AI and quantum computing to be able to work as efficiently as it does? Will they be injecting all that money that they would save mining the Bitcoin into the power consumption? So I don't know. I guess the reason I asked, I know CleanSpark, CLSK, is a stock that is a Bitcoin miner that I've read a lot about their efficiencies mining Bitcoin and how apparently it's better than the competitors. So I don't know. Just curious your thoughts on that.
Well, that might have an effect on the mining process, but I don't think it'll necessarily have a difference or an impact in how quickly it's mined, because you have a set number of Bitcoin that can be mined every single day. I think that number is like 900 or something like that. So after this, 4 years from now, it'll be cut in half. So it'll be 450. So it doesn't matter how efficient that is. You still can only mine so much a day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then once that's done, then, okay, so it'll have an effect again on how it goes with the mining companies, but not necessarily on the overall price of Bitcoin.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because that would be intriguing as a mining company, even though they're getting less, like you said. At least they're now still making margin on, maybe it's more efficient, more cost effective as far as energy utilized to get that coin, to allow them to still keep their doors open with the halving process on the horizon continual. So yeah, that's pretty neat.
Cool. All right. And great question, Brew. All right. Next question comes from Kyle. Kyle says, hey, do you guys share how you record your trades? I know you're not accountants, but part of trading is staying compliant and keeping good records. Would you be able to share a sample trade journal or give any tips/pointers on how to track things? I'd love to get a feel for it before subscribing.
As far as journals, I'd say go look at our track record. That's probably the most accurate, up to date. Those are all trades we've taken here in our services. So we display those track records on the live day trading room and other services. That would be one area I'd point you to as far as like a trading journal. And what I did a trading journal at the beginning of my career too, where I jotted down actually every single stock I traded, why I got into it. So that really helped me focus on the reasons why I'm getting in. And what it also did is it reduced my emotions, because oftentimes as a new investor, you don't know why you're buying something or selling something. A lot of people, it's easy to get into something, but when the stock starts going up, where are you going to sell? And as a retail or newer investor, that's really one of the harder things to grasp is, what's the reason for selling? Is it because it is an extended move? Is it into resistance? Is it on a time count? Lawton talked about cycles a little bit before, so did Ben. But the markets are very cyclical in nature. There's patterns on charts. There's areas to take profits, and there's areas to go long on any given stock. It doesn't really matter what it is. You just have to understand what sector it is. So that's what I would say for a trading journal. Mainly do it for the beginning of your trading. If you want to reference us on trading journals, look at our track records. Don't know if Lawton or Ben have anything else to add to that.
No, just make sure that you have a program or a place where you can have all that information. Like if you're going to do accounting, if Coinbase, for example, they can log all those trades. And so make sure your platform has that access for you, and then you don't have to worry about it. If not, then obviously you're going to have to go in and account for everything yourself.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. The trading platform I use, Thinkorswim for stocks, it emails me confirmation for every single trade you take. Mm-hmm. And our track record show all of our trades, winners and losers. So Let's see here. I see someone asking about. Unfortunately, we're not going to answer that question just because it's a stock question. We're only looking at crypto specifically because this is Trader's Edge crypto. So we're not going to be looking at any stock-based questions, guys. So if you have any questions about specifically crypto, Jason, we'd be happy to answer that. Okay, Franklin says, hey, quick question. What chart timeframes do you actually use when trading? Do you look at the weekly and daily for the big trend, and then switch to the 4-hour or 15-minute charts to nail your entries and exits? It depends, right? And I'll say it depends on what you're looking to do. If you're looking to day trade, you can look at the daily, but what you really want to be looking at is like the 10-minute, 1-minute, hourly, right? You're not going to look at the monthly to figure out a place to go day trade, right? But if you're looking at a swing trade, you're not going to look at the 1-minute chart to determine, a good level.
Whether I'm going in for a day trade or a swing trade, I will always look at the daily chart, whether it's swing trade or day trade. And the reason that I do that is because it allows me to identify where the most amount of support and resistance is. So if I'm looking at a 1-minute chart and it gives me a great reversal signal, or it shows me a topping tail, but it's not anywhere close to resistance on the topping tail, I might just leave it alone, because more than likely that's going to fail because it's inside of resistance, or it's too far away, or it's too beaten down on the charts. And if it decides it wants to blow through that, then I'll be, SOL essentially. So always look at the daily charts, whether it's a swing trade or a day trade.
Gotcha.
That's just me.
Trip saying, I've been following days swing trading content for over a year now while adding to my long-term positions. If I wanted to start a small account for trading with 20K, what advice would you give? I'm assuming you're talking about cryptocurrency, right?
And
But
20K, that's substantial for a crypto account.
For crypto, yeah, that's more than good enough. I think that my biggest advice would be when you're trading cryptocurrency, you see things move like 10% in a day, and you're like, well, if I went 150 times leverage in that and cut the move, I could have made $1 bajillion, right? That's the dream. But the reality is the majority of people that end up doing that end up losing. So that's not really what you want to be doing. So just be careful. Mind your position sizes.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is people often get tied up in this fear and greed aspect, especially let's say you lose a couple times. Then your fear and greed, they seem to almost switch. And what I mean by that is your fear of it going against you usually is increased. And so you'll end up taking your profits really quickly. But then when you get too far out of the money, because you've already lost a couple times, you get greedy and say, all right, now this one, I have to get back to my break even. And so as it continues to go against you, you're like, no, I'm going to work this. I'm going to really, I can make this work until you'll dollar cost average, or you'll have to wait for your break even. And then it just continues to spiral out of control, further and further and further out of the money. And then all of a sudden you're blowing up your account. So start small, manage your position size, let your winners run, cut your losers quick. If you can do that, obviously. And just know that this game is an emotional game. Every single one of these candles represents fear and greed. And so it's just emotional. So mind your emotions.
That's really good advice.
Yeah, one of the best quotes, what came from Buffett regarding that, like the stock market is a vehicle to transfer money from people who are impatient to people who are patient.
Yep.
That's great. All right. How is your trade doing, Drew?
Not too shabby, up about 3 cents on it. We've got about 14 minutes left in the time frame. I'm watching this because I don't want to lose any of the gains that we have. Now we see Bitcoin now. I drew this declining trend line. As I mentioned, this is all bullish consolidation right here on top and through a resistance area on this 50% area, this dotted line that you see right there on my chart. But now we're starting to poke up to the top end of that area. So if we don't break up, we could actually come back down over the next 10, 20 minutes and then make another attempt to come up. If this bull flag does not play out, we're going lower on Bitcoin. So I'm monitoring this pretty closely because it does correlate with how much that we can get a bounce up over here on Atom. You see we've got a nice bounce up so far, breaking above this declining trend. Now this is a different 15-minute time frame, but still all the while it's a nice bounce up. This area is currently resistance on Atom. So depending upon how much time we have left and really what goes on this Bitcoin chart is going to help me make the decision as to if we go ahead and get out of Atom before our target or if we wait for target. And if we keep pushing up higher like we see right now on the Bitcoin chart, I'll just let Atom run. Otherwise, if Bitcoin starts coming down, I'll probably just move this take profit down to us getting out of the position. So it really kind of is hinging on what Bitcoin's doing right now on the 10-minute chart.
Gotcha. Cool. Matt saying, how good are the bid/ask spreads on crypto? I think it depends on what you're trading. I don't know if you guys have a good answer for that.
Like Lawton said, it really depends on how liquid it is, how many decimal points it stems out, and what you're trading. So it's all going to vary depending on the coin. Or if you're
it also depends on your platform, right? If you hit market order on some platforms, they're going to take your fees and give you a bad fill, right?
Yep.
But if you're putting a limit order on specific platforms like Blofin, they'll do their best to give you a good fill and at your level, right? Because you're putting a limit. So it really depends.
Yeah, I know that's exactly right, Lawton. On Coinbase, the market orders, I think, are 1% out of the money. So even if spot, let's just say on a particular coin's right at $100, you may get filled at 101 if you're going long. And that's just at a market order with Coinbase. But if you do limits, you can go down like 2% and get filled right on the exact price.
Yeah.
All right. So Bitcoin's coming back in ever so slightly on the 1 minute. We've got what, 11 minutes left here. Let's see if we can stay right here within the next minute or higher, I'll still hold the position. If we start coming down a little bit, I'll go ahead and take the profits.
All right, so let's stay tuned for that. Trying to look for some other good questions. Jordan says, love the crypto focused content. Can you break down what you see on the Jasmy, JASMY 15-minute and daily chart?
Can we be more specific on that question? Break down what we're seeing. Like are we looking at a day trade?
Day trade? Well, he's giving you the time frame, right? 15-minute and daily chart. But are you talking about going long, going short?
Well, those are two different time frames, and you could essentially say, all right, well, the 15-minute could possibly be a day trade depending on what we see. However, the daily chart, is it correlating with it? Are you seeing some sort of divergence on that? So like when you guys ask questions, try to be a little bit more specific so that way we can get an idea of where you're thinking it's heading, so we can give you some kind of ideas of where it is. Because I mean, if you look at any altcoin chart, there's going to be support and resistance on either side of the current price, right? So we could just list out like all the support levels on the way down and give you 15 to 20 different answers based on how you're going to trade this thing. And then same thing if it goes up, right? And so it allows us to basically focus our attention on more of a support or resistance level that you're targeting as well. So I know one of you guys asked, can we give you an idea of like how to fish for
Mhm.
yourself. Well, allow us to guide you through that based on what we're seeing. And it might be completely different than what you're seeing. And that happens a lot, right? So you see a downsloping trend line, you connect it through the midlines of some of the candles that we might not have done, and vice versa. So it just gives you a little bit more information for you guys to determine how to trade and chart yourselves.
Yep.
Yeah. Matt says, more specifically, how good is the bid and ask for Bitcoin? That's kind of like a
It
broad
really is
question.
going to depend on your platform. There will be divergences in whether you're using Coinbase or whether you're using some of these other platforms. Because I know Blofin is going to probably have a different price than Coinbase. So you're just going to have to look for yourself on what the bid and ask is for that.
Yeah, again, using limit orders instead of market orders could help you get a better fill on
Guys, I'm
any
going to
of
pull down
these
my
things.
exit down to 4.268. Starting to get a little bit of down ticking here on Atom. This could just be consolidation right here in this area. Bitcoin is ultimately still consolidating. So this move could go up higher throughout the course of the day, folks. But for us being able to guide you, and I can, once we get out, I can even, and actually speaking of which, let's just do it right now. Let me double check and see if I was filled or not. Nope, not filled yet. All right, but with Cardano moving up, this could get as high up to the 68-cent area before we start seeing significant resistance. Oh, all right. Here, I pulled up Cardano. Whoops. What am I talking about?
I think we were talking about Jasmy.
Oh, Jasmy. Yeah, that's a
JSMY.
Jasmy's been beaten up pretty good. Ultimately, though, for Atom, the target, though, for a very good bounce on this stock, so we're talking about $4.44. I don't think we're going to get that within our time frame of being here. I'm at 4.268 to go ahead and sell. We're just a little bit higher up in here, right there on the ask. But go ahead with Jasmy. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you there. I'll interrupt you if I get filled, but currently looking at 4.268.
Okay. Yeah, Matt, there's no central exchange for cryptocurrency. It's like one of the big selling points. It's like the point of cryptocurrency. To have a decentralized, currency.
I'll take a
yeah.
look at Jasmy. Did he ever get back, or they give back to you on like what they're kind of looking at?
No.
No? Okay. Well, you want to flip to my charts? I can kind of go over.
I got you.
All right. All right. So here's Jasmy on the 15-minute chart. We're into a lot of resistance at basically 1382. As you can see, it hit that level, actually got above that level, and is pulled back. It does have a pretty nice little tail on it. Does that guarantee that it's going to go higher? Absolutely not. So what we do is we draw trend lines. This has got a low a pivot at 1291, hit again at 1337, and then for the third time at 1350. So we've got this upsloping trend line. Right now, based on this 15-minute chart, you're into a lot of support. So it does favor a move to the upside. And so if it does break this upsloping trend line, it's going to break and probably head back down to 1295 or 13, or 1292, I guess would be the low pivot that it started at. So that's what it could do for Jasmy. And the reason that I brought up, kind of give me an idea of what you're targeting, right? So this is on the 15-minute chart. If you're a long-term investor and you say, all right, well, it's on the 15-minute chart, do you see this as being kind of a bullish pattern? And I would say, well, really depends on what happens in the next couple 15-minute candles. If we can stay above this basically 1372 level, consolidate sideways, and then break above this resistance level here, then we can go higher. However, if you're looking to short it, I would say, well, the first shortable level would probably be this double top here at 1557, because that's where you're going to your next resistance is going to be. And if you're going to go long, this could be a good long opportunity depending on your horizon or your long-term viewpoint on it, with an add level at possibly down here at 1282. So there's a lot of different scenarios that we can derive from this 15-minute chart. And it's not just as clear as cut as, hey, this is 100% a buy level, no matter what. If we start breaking support, then it could even go even lower. So that's why we kind of want an idea of what you're thinking, and we can kind of give you an idea. On the upside or the daily chart, you've got this downsloping trend line. And I've seen this a lot. You've got downsloping trend lines on the 15-minute chart. As you saw, this was in an uptrend. On the daily time frame, this is still in a downtrend. And so what you're doing is you're waiting for a break above this downsloping trend line for you to switch gears and say, all right, well, now this is a bullish chart instead of a bearish chart. Right now on the daily chart, it's still bearish. So,
all right, guys, I went ahead. I did exit the atom position at 4.26. 4.26, took a small gain on that. Sorry to interrupt there, Ben.
That's all right.
Yeah, let me add it to the banner.
Yep, 4.26. So took a couple cent gain on that.
Yeah, Jordan says he's looking to go. He's responding to you, Ben, saying he's looking to go long due to what I'm thinking is in upsloping trend line.
Okay, well, that gives me more information, so I appreciate that. So
long because he sees an upsloping trend line.
Yes. So here on the daily chart, this would be the upsloping trend line. And I guess I was mentioning this earlier and I didn't even realize, if you connect this upsloping trend line, it cuts through this support, right? This support broke and now it retested, came back up, and now it's retesting it again. And so sometimes you take these support levels that have been pierced because you've got the first hit, second hit, third hit. So just because it pierces and comes back up doesn't mean that you have to readjust your trend lines. And so it seems like you didn't readjust, which is totally fine. This would be a great trend line to play for a long. What you're waiting for now is a break of this downsloping trend line that connects this high at 2146, basically goes through here at 1966 and then 1559. So now you're waiting for a break, or if you wanted to stop out, you'd stop out at a close below this this upsloping trend line. So lots of different ways to analyze the charts. None of them are necessarily wrong. It depends on, again, your horizon and what you're looking to do with it. So yeah, I see that upsloping trend line. So looks pretty good.
Matt says, is it misplaced or amateurish to be concerned with bid/ask spreads? Well, no, I think that your concerns are valid, and especially when you're just starting out, there's no way to know, right? So the most important thing is to ask questions, right? And of course, we don't want to make it feel like you can't ask questions, but the way that we tend to trade as far as putting a limit order means that we're only going to get filled if it hits that exact price. So because of that, we're not too concerned with these spreads for a bid and ask. We're also doing our best to trade stocks and cryptocurrency that are at least liquid enough so we can trade. So generally, that's not something we are too concerned about.
Yeah, and it really depends. Are you day trading? Are you swing trading? If you're swing trading, you just put the limit order in, and even if it's $10 spread on a $100 altcoin, if you put your limit order, then I mean it doesn't really matter.
Yep, it'll be okay.
So Drew's trying to say something.
I can't hear Drew. He's just talking away.
Yeah, I was saying in two with market orders and limit orders. If you're swing trading, it's not as critical to get, let's just say Ben had a swing trade entry at $100 flat. Like it's not as critical for you to get right at $100. If we're talking about swing trading, we'll be looking for 10, 20% gain. So it all depends on the type of trading you're doing and really how effective and how really of a big deal it is to have that exact order. I love limit orders. I try to go with them as often as I can.
Yep.
For sure.
Wow, it's already 12:30.
Wow. Shoot, that was fast.
Yeah. Let's see
All
here.
right.
Are we just about done, I guess?
Yeah, that wraps it
Yep.
up. We had a
I think
trade.
that's it.
Got some good
I
questions.
mean, again, guys, we do this every single Monday from just around 11:30 to 12:30 for about an hour. Wow, that went by really fast, actually. A lot faster than I anticipated.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. I just want to remind all of you guys that next week is Investor Empowerment Day, Monday, June 23rd. We're going to be live and doing things all day. So get in on crypto trading. You can day trade with us, stocks in the afternoon. Ask us questions, see some testimonies. We'd love for you to be a part of this. You can scan the QR code down below to check that out, get discount on some of our courses. And thank you again to Blofin for sponsoring us. With that being said, we're going to end it. We're going to close it off. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Lawton Ho, and I'm joined by Drew Dosek and Benjamin Poole. Thank you so much, guys.
Take care, guys.
Have a good one, guys.
See you
Thanks
guys
for
next
tuning
time.
in.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Bye.